you doing today and how is your day today? Yeah, I'm having a great day and I'm sure you're going to have a great conversation. ESG, have you heard about it before? I'm sure you all know what it means by now. So, environmental, social governance. But what do you know about it? What more do you know actually? That's what I want you to tell me about. Because I like to tell you that, this terminology has been growing for the last few years. And I have to say, and I believe I mentioned that to you already. So I went to a conference in Washington, D.C., right, organized by the economists. And that was the first time I saw so many CSO, right? So corporate social officer, corporate sustainability officer, chief sustainability officer, please. I'm actually mixing my words here. CSO, which is chief sustainability officer, right? And I could see that pretty much all the big companies will have something like that now because ESG is gaining of an importance. And I want us to talk about it today. And I have somebody very, very special. I'm sure you're going to like her, right? So that's what I want to talk to you about. But first of all, let me introduce myself again. So my name is Tony Tio. I'm the founder and CEO of Renewables in Africa. What is that we do? Very, very simple. We want to make sure that we demystify the renewable energy sector for you so that it makes it seamless and easy for you to connect, right? And to join force with us, right? Whether you're coming from a different perspective, let's say, for example, you are an investor, you say, hey, I have a lot of money, I have ESG investment. I want to pour into the sector. I just don't know how to find the right information for you. Tony, can you help me? My answer to you is yes, definitely we can help you. You just want to make sure that you subscribe to this channel. Or maybe you want to tell me as well that, hey, I'm a professional, right? So I like to get into the sector like you, right? I know what you did about more than 10 years ago. I also like to get involved. I just don't know how to do it. Very simple. Make sure that you connect to this platform. You get the information that you are looking for and potentially more. Or maybe you're saying, I'm running a business, right? I'm running a business and I'm conscious of the fact that, I may be polluting, but I don't know what to do to make sure that I can also be a good citizen. Do not worry. We're going to give you the information for you here. And I can tell you, we actually broadcast for 5 channels. We have YouTube, we have LinkedIn, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, and we have Telegram. So there's multiple places where you can connect and get involved, right? So you have no excuse. So there's 3 things I need for you. Make sure, first of all, if you're looking at me right now, just connect right now. So leave a comment. That's number 2. Tell me what you're finding, how you're finding this show. Is it interesting, not interesting at all? So let me know. Let me know what you want me to discuss. And also the third thing, I like you to share. Share that with people that you know, because don't be selfish. You say you want to contribute. That's the easy way to contribute. Share that with people that you know, because there may be somebody that find it very interesting and they may be happy, right? And they may be grateful for life because you share with them a link that they will appreciate, right? So this is what I wanted to talk to you about. Now, let's come back into the topic today, right? And the topic today is ESG, which is environmental, social governance, right? So let me, again, sort of restate what it means. But I'm sure many of you know about that. What is that exactly? So it's a way for company to take into account environmental and social issues, right, in the day-to-day running of their business, just to make sure that whatever they do now reflect those values, those statements. And I'm sure you would have heard many companies now talking about that, right? I told you about the fact that now one of the most important position, it's CSO or RSE, if you want to say that in French, right? So yes, that's what it is. So it's about making sure that the company stays in line with the principle of environmental, social governance, right? Just to make sure it is properly reflected. Now, one thing that you may or may not know. So, do you know where it's actually coming from? So that's what I was always say, that's a challenge. Sometimes we hear about big terms like that, ESG or any other acronym. We just don't understand what it means. So the first thing, you want to define it. So and then you want to understand where it's coming from. Once you've done it already, it gives you better clarity. And then you want to understand, how does it affect me and how can I contribute if you want to contribute, right? So, and that's what I like to talk to you about. And I promise you, we're going to have a few more conversation regarding ESG because the topic is huge. It's getting of importance. And I could see that because people are reaching out to me for that. And I thought it's time and it's good for us just to spend quite some time on it. So let me just give you a little bit of a background. Actually, the term ESG, we actually need to give credit to a guy that you knew back in the time. It's actually Secretary General Kofi Annan. Yes, you may not know that, but he's actually the first. In 2004, what he did, Kofi Annan, he was still Secretary General of the UN at the time. He wrote to the 55 biggest CEO of the largest financial institution in the world. He wrote to them at that time, and in that letter, it was actually urging them basically to participate in an initiative, right? That was about bridging the gap between investors that they had a lot of money, billions, right? Some trillions now we can talk about, connecting those investors with environmental, social issues, right? And the idea for them was to participate, right? To encourage them to participate in this issue and support it, right? And these guys, they came together at the time, right? And then they formed a group which is called the responsible social investment, something like that. I can't remember the exact terminology, so please don't. So I apologize if I sort of screw that over, right? But it was a principle. Yeah, it was. I think it was a principle for responsible investment. It was something like that. Yeah. So that was in 2004, and you had large asset manager like BlackRock, Morgan Stanley, the JP Morgan participated in that. But it was still quite relatively small initiative, right? So, but clearly that's where it started from. But what happened is you have in 2020, right? So you have a couple of guys who actually changed the game completely. So one of them was definitely Larry Fink, which is the CEO of BlackRock, and he wrote to his investors. He wrote to the investors, right? And in that letter that he wrote to investor Larry Fink, he was actually identifying clearly climate change as one of the major issues for the financial world, and saying that because of the fiduciary duty that they have, they had to make sure that they let their clients know about this risk and telling them that they have to take that into consideration. And for them, BlackRock at the time, which is the largest asset manager, with trillions of dollars under management, right? They were going to take sustainability that was going to underpin a lot of their investment. And that was okay. There was a shifting moment. Another person that was actually quite important was Mark Carney, one of the bank, when he was the head of the Bank of England, right? Clearly, same thing. He identified climate change as one of the major risks and clearly saying people, you have to take that into account. From that point on, the industry just grew exponentially, right? So when I talk about industry, I'm talking about the ESG industry here, right? So clearly become quite big. So just to show you a little bit, let me just show you a couple of pictures, right? And then you'll be able to see how big it became. So let me just make sure that I can share that correctly. So hopefully I won't screw that this time. No, I think that's fine. I think I probably will have it. 1 second. Okay, where's my window? Do I have the right window? Come on. Yeah, I should have something that's correct. Okay, let me see. Okay, let me share the whole screen. And you tell me if you see that. I'm hoping you can see that. Hopefully, yes. So what it shows here, that was actually the first quarter of 2020. And we were looking at here the sustainable funds, right, the fund flow. You can see we're talking about 33 billion in Europe, 10 billion in the US, and the rest of the world. You could see a total was about 45 billion of investment that we could see at that time. That was quite huge and significant. And also, but around the same time as well, we could see that the interest in investing sustainably shifted from 71%, which was already high. You could see that high was growing to 85%. And I can tell you, as I'm speaking now today, I'm pretty much certain that we're over the 90% mark here, right? Because now this is something everybody now wants to talk about, right? So, and you can't ignore it. And that's what it's about ESG. As I say, the topic is very huge. I'm very much conscious of the fact that I'm barely just scratching the surface. There's so much we can do to talk about that. And I'm going to make sure that I give you this information because that's what about. First of all, let me ask you, have you asked a question? Do you have a question already about what I've said so far? Make sure that you drop a comment. So let me know what you are thinking, right? So that'd be good. Have you shared the video with somebody? Now is the time for you to do it. So have you also subscribed to the to our channel? Now is the time to do it on YouTube. Yeah. So definitely make sure that you can do that for me. I definitely would appreciate. But normally when you're talking about issues like that or concept like that, ESG, right? It's usually good to connect that with somebody that's already in position, somebody that's already doing the job, so you can get to understand what are the consideration that person has on a day-to-day basis. And actually, I'm very excited and delighted because I told you in the past, right? You've been following me a little bit, that even in my family, the circle was growing because back in the days, I used to be the only one sort of boasting news about renewables energy or this kind of thing, right? I felt a little bit alone, but now people barely look at me now, right? Because there's just so many. So my brother-in-law has an interest even closer to me, my sister, and she's the one I want to introduce to you because guess what? In fact, I'm not going to say more. She's going to introduce herself, right? So let me welcome to you here my lovely sister, one of the lady I love the most in this world, Mrs. Alexandra Chiyupinji. Hey, Alexandra, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm great, and you?
You're doing great. Excellent. I can see your beautiful, lovely office, right?
Thank you, thank you.
I like to have the exact same office. Is that what they give you as a perk, right? As becoming
No, no. Actually, it's just your office. Every office is like that. So maybe I'm just lucky. I don't know.
okay. Well, I want to be I want to be that lucky. Well, listen, obviously, yeah. So people will know, right? So we're the same blood. So I know you from hard, right? So you used to be my playmate. We used to play together a long time. But
Yes,
but but
yes. We
a
used to
lot of
do it.
people don't know you. Yeah, beyond being just Tony's sister, or for me being your brother. So can you maybe do a short introduction about yourself? That'd be great.
But that would be a quick one, right?
Yeah,
Because
take your
I
time.
know there's a lot. There's a lot to tell about me, but in this specific subject, I mean this day's subject, it will be a quick one. I'm Mrs. Alexandra Tiu Pinji, and I'm living in Gabon for like 8 years right now,
Okay.
and I'm working in. I used to work in so many departments, different domains. I used to work in the media, in sales, in marketing, and now I'm in communication. I'm back in communication because I used to work in the communication department back in the days, and then I'm back in the communication department. I'm very glad.
Okay, excellent. That's fine. Superb. So as I know, I've been teasing you a little bit about that. So I know that now you are the ESG responsible or the RSE responsible for your company. Can you please tell us how did you get this position? So yeah.
It's it's very interesting how I got this. It was circumstances. I would say
Okay.
luck. I would say circumstances luck, because first of all, I'm coming from a marketing department. I used to be the brand manager of two soft drinks that we call Top is a soft drink, and then the second one is XXL. That's an energetic soft drink. And then I was coming by the end of my contract, a 2 years contract. And then in the communication department, there was a really big need of somebody who has first a communication background, and then somebody who would not be afraid of new challenges. And then my director called me and said, "Okay, Alexandra, look, we're coming now by the end of your contract, but I don't want you to pursue in that marketing directive. I would like to try something new with you. And then I don't know if you will mind having this new challenge." And then I was like, "Okay, let's do it. Let's do it." Because first of all, it's not that it's not a typical communication function, the ESG or RSE as we call in French. It's more than that because you're dealing with internal and external people,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a lot more than just writing something or just going on the radio and the TV. There's a lot work of research, and then you need to meet people. You need to meet the right people. There's a whole process that you have to meet. So I was like, okay, uh, honestly, I'm not that familiar with the subject, but I'm so willing to like you, I know you like challenges. I'm so willing to do it. And then I was like, okay, let's try, get on board. And then I got the
Excellent.
position. I got the position as a RSE coordinatrice, as a ESG coordinator in this brewery, national brewery.
Okay. Excellent. That's fine. That's fine. Excellent. And I think the company is at Castel, if I'm correct. Castel Group
Yeah,
or
yes, is a Castel affiliation that we call
okay.
Sobraga, that would be Société des Brasseries du Gabon.
Du Gabon.
And then
Okay.
you got three distinct companies under it. You got Sobraga, you got Sobodeco, and you got Sovenga. So
Okay.
Sobraga is essentially the breweries. Sobodeco is dealing with the water, and
Okay.
Sovengap is dealing with the wines. So I'm responsible of ESG of these three companies. So that
Three
would be
company.
Castel Gabon.
Excellent. That means they definitely owe you some free drinks there. Yeah. Because you're doing a lot of job. Yeah. That's the least. That's the
Yes,
least. You should
I
even
need
tell
to.
them that you should
Why
send
not
free
yet?
drinks to the whole family, right? For
Yeah,
all
I
the
like
job
the
that you're
sound of
doing.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. So what does it I wanted to know, so what does it mean to you, ESG? Because you said it's no position for you, no experience. Effectively, you a woman, obviously you never shy of taking on a challenge, a new challenge. So what does it really mean, ESG, to you? How do you see it?
I would just tell those guys just something very funny. Remember the day I got the job, I wrote through you and I was like, actually we were on WhatsApp, and I was like, hey, bro, I got the job, and it's RSA, and you were like, what is that? And I started explaining to you that it's dealing with this and that, environment and society and government and this, and you were like, okay, now see, it's ESD. I was like, no, that's the old name. And you were laughing at me like, okay, I know I'm your big brother, but I'm not that old. So yeah, so yeah, ESD for me is like the old name. I won't say this ancestor, but it's the old name they used to use that name. I think it's appeared around the 60s, if I got
Mm-hmm.
good memory, and then it evolved, during the years. And in the French speaking part of the world now, we talk about RSE. It has
Mm-hmm.
evolved because in ESG we're talking about three pillars, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and with RSE you will talk about six pillars for the Castel Group Gabon, and with the RSA, you will talk about the seven big question. They call it the seven central question. With the seven central question, you will have
Mm-hmm.
government, you will have consumers, you will
Mm-hmm.
have relationship at work, you will
Mm-hmm.
have communities, you will have environment, you will have ethics and transparency, and then last. You will have the fight against corruption. You see, so we going is broader with the name RSE than before. So I think that is
Okay.
the evolution. We can see the evolution from ESG, that was environment, social, corporate, and governance. And then when we talk about RSE now, some people will say in French, responsabilité sociale de l'entreprise is not only social, it's societal, because with societal is bigger, it's broader. You have so many things involved. For example, as for ESD, me, I'm not only dealing with my company, I will deal with my colleagues,
Mm-hmm.
I would deal with consumers, I would
Mm-hmm.
deal with communities, I would deal with the people we know with the circular economic, who
Mm-hmm.
just have a good impact on on the plastic waste.
Mm-hmm.
Really, we have great activities around the plastic waste. When talking about pollution, we got great activities on the consumer responsible when you don't drink and drive. That kind of subject. So it's so big that I can just resume and say that from ESG to RSO, we add many subjects inside. So we came from 3 pillars to 7 pillars, and maybe in 5 years' time we will have 10 pillars.
Mm.
Why not?
Okay. Okay. And do you get involved into all the key decisions now, or some of the key decisions now in the company? Because obviously, it's all about making sure that those decisions reflect the ESG or the RSO responsibility. Does it mean that you get involved into these many decision making processes?
I will say that I won't be involved directly. I don't have that big shoulders yet.
Don't worry, it's growing.
It's getting heavier, right? It's getting
Yeah.
heavier. Not directly, but yes, I do have, because with that RSO, when you create, let's say, RSO department, the first step, what would be the first step? The first step would be to do a diagnostic of your
Yeah.
company. So, which part are you standing? Then, after the diagnostic, you have to write a process. Like, this is the diagnostic, this is what you observed. Now, how do you think that you can fix what is not great done, and what do you think we can pursue with? That will be the process. When you write your process, now you need to form like a team, RSA team,
Yeah.
and that RSA team will represent you in the different department of your
Ah,
company. So you will
okay.
have a RSA team in the human resource, in the accountant people, in marketing, in the sales, and even in the factory, because since we brewery, we do so much work back at the factory. So you have like representatives everywhere. That will be your RSA team, and with that RSA team, you need to make sure that every principles of the process that you're going to write will be respected. And
Okay.
then weekly, or most sometimes monthly, you will go before the board and present what you have observed during this month or during that week. And then everything you observe, everything you will notice, they need to, I mean, the board of
Mm-hmm.
directors, they need to really to implement that.
Okay.
And it will certainly affect the activities, the decisions. It will certainly affect the business model of the company. That's why I'm telling you that maybe I don't have the impact directly, but my work would definitely have an impact.
Okay.
And they
Excellent.
rely on me to
Yeah.
have a great feedback on them, because now the company will be so much evaluated with other companies on that
Absolutely.
subject areas. Nowadays it's, I don't want to say trendy, because when I say trendy, it's just like it's fashion where
Yeah.
people will say, okay, let's do ESD because it's great. We see that everywhere. No, you don't do ESD. You don't do RSU just because it needs to be done. No, you really need to get to know the subject, and then see how can you implement that in your company. It doesn't matter how big the company is. If it's small, if it's big, you really need it. But don't do that just for trendy objectives purpose. No.
Okay. Excellent. That's fine. I think that's giving me a lot of. Let me ask you a very last question regarding ESG, because I know you're very busy. So, do you have a broad idea? Because I think I'm quite keen to understand from a wider perspective how ESG RSO is applied in Gabon, but also in Africa. Because I know most of the time when people would talk about that, it could be from, put it that way, Western perspective or European perspective. So down on the ground in Africa, companies are in Africa. So do you have an idea of a specific project that can be classified under ESG application or maybe RSO application?
In Africa,
Yeah,
or
or I mean, you can think about even Gabon already. Yes, in Africa. So in Gabon, that can help you something closer.
yeah, I would say that we have so many actually. In RSO, we have what we call ODD. That would be objectif à durée déterminée.
Yeah.
So that will be a specific task that you have to do in a specific time. And in the world, we count 17 ODD. And when a company is about to write his RSO process, he needs to focus on this 17 ODD and choose like on the 17, maybe five or six that is directly applying to his environment, to his context. So now for Gabon and maybe for Sobraga or Castel, yeah, of course, we have so many, maybe because I'm a woman, as I would say first, equity at work is really
Okay.
applying now in Gabon. You see, we have 2 years ago we had the first female director in one of a factory in OEM. Now we encourage during recruitment we encourage female applications because we really want to create that equity at work. As another ODD project that we have, I can talk about the communities, the help to the communities that they say no à la pauvreté, so no to poverty. When we go and help people or poor communities, we try to give them water, electricity, and necessary items or necessary stuff. That will be a second ODD, or the third one will be what can I say, transparency and ethics. Unfortunately, in Africa or in this part of Africa, Central Africa, we sometimes we talk about corruption. So now we will be very uh, regarding to this process, not to have this non-ethics process,
Mm-hmm.
and really do a great activity to fight corruption. I remember my first task when I took the job as LC coordinator. I wrote a conformity test
Mm-hmm.
that's a biannual test that is just two times a year that I share with my colleague, and then I ask them questions about ethics and transparency subjects. So they just have to go and find the answer in our code of conduct. And I mean, the first one we had, if I have a good memory, we had about 25 participations and we got to around 9 people who won. But the second one, I launched the test. I mean, it was the first time for me. We had about 85 participations and we rewarded 25 people. So it was a great play for us. And we were like, yes, we need to talk more about it in the internal or external environment. So you say for this within the 17 ODD, we can really have many of them applying to Africa, to Gabon, and to Sobraga.
Excellent. I'm hoping that very soon, so we could be working on a solar project that you could be rolling out for one of your factory. So that would be
Yes, yes, of course. Because when you talk about solar projects, first of all, I would like to tell you that in the RSO process, we are fighting against how do we call it?
climate change.
How do we? You know, in French is in a the machine énergivore. You know that
Efficiency, efficacité énergétique.
efficacity énergétique. We fight against it. So when we fight against it, we reducing cost first of
Okay.
all.
Mm-hmm.
We reduce cost first of all, and then is eco-free. You know,
Yeah.
so this kind of project is very welcome. I was on a mission in Franceville, that's in the south of the country, and one of the requests of those communities that I met, they were like, "We really need solar lamps. So
Mm-hmm.
please, can you help us have solar lamps?" And I've started listening to it everywhere. Solar lamps. Can we have it? Can we have it? And yeah, that would be a great project. So maybe we need to get in touch.
Excellent. That's fine. So thank you very much for your contribution. I knew that it was the right time to invite you here. Like I say, we
Sometimes they
may
say, "Excuse my French." I would say, "Excuse my English."
exactly. No, no, no. Your French is beautiful. Your English is beautiful as usual, right? So, and you're proper, proper Gabonese Cameroonian for sure.
Yes, the
So
mix of it.
yeah. So
That's good.
thank you very much for your for intervention. As I say, it's a pleasure to have you. And I'm sure there's going to be, like I say,
Was
ESG
my
is a
pleasure.
topic that we need to develop even more.
Of
I'm
course.
sure there will be many other opportunities when we can connect. So
I will be very glad to.
excellent. So have a good continuation, and definitely we'll chat very soon. Yeah, so basically, you've heard and you've seen what ESG can do for you, right? And what it means exactly. So I just want to find out from you, what about you? So what do you know about ESG? What more do you know, or what more do you want to find out? That's one thing that we're going to be developing more into this platform, obviously, right? So first of all, like I said, that's the time when I come and say, if you have any question, I'd be more than happy to respond. But if there is no question, I have two questions for you. Just make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Just make sure that you leave a comment. Just make sure that you share the video with you, right? So that's what we're doing it for. But I'm very grateful for people that are tuning in every time, every Wednesday, every Sunday, and I have a surprise for you. We're about to prepare something very special, a new show that we're going to be doing on a Friday. What is it going to be the topic about? Renewables and money, because making money is very important, but I'll be telling you more about that when we come to it, right? So that's what I have to say. I can't see any question that I'm saying here. I know you guys probably still busy, but hopefully it's been very useful to you. And if you're watching, if you happen to watch it afterward and you have questions, just drop it. I make sure that I respond to that. But in between, let me just say, first of all, thank you very much for watching us. Always a pleasure as usual. And like I usually like to say, guys, may the sun be with you guys. Get better. Bye bye.